Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, and more specifically, I am going to be doing a little bit of short-term TA here at the outset of the video, but the main thing I want to focus on in this video is not the short-term, not the hourly chart, not the 4-hourly chart, not the 1-minute chart, not even really the daily chart. I want to zoom out and do some longer-term technical analysis on Bitcoin and discuss the longevity of the cryptocurrency market, blockchain technology, the industry, and the market in general, and talk about where I think this market is going over the next 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and try and get a much longer-term perspective here on the market, because Bitcoin is coming up on its decade anniversary, its decaversary, I guess you could call it. January 3rd, 2009, the first Bitcoin was mined by Satoshi Nakamoto, and January 3rd, 2019 is coming up in about a month and a little under a half. So I want to analyze where Bitcoin has come in the last 10 years and talk about where it might be in another 10 years, and really, like I said, get some good perspective on what we're looking at here on the market, because we zoom in a lot and we talk about the 2018 bear market a lot on this channel, but I think a lot of times we forget to realize where we are in the grand scheme of things and where Bitcoin is going in the long term. So that's what we're going to be discussing in today's video. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. I will do a little bit of short-term technical analysis here at the outset of the video, because I know you guys like to see what's going on in the market, but then we're going to zoom out and start doing our longer-term TA as I mentioned earlier. Anyway, one thing that we've seen Bitcoin do in the last couple of hours is, as I talked about in yesterday's video, you can watch that video in the top right, Bitcoin was coming up here on a nice little uptrend, and one thing I was concerned about here was that Bitcoin has set a high and then just an ever so slightly higher high. If Bitcoin was going to stay above this support level right here of $4,000, you can see this is $4,000 over here. I expected that Bitcoin probably would have made a higher high right there, a higher second high, and it didn't. And in fact, as we were concerned about, Bitcoin fell below $4,000. Now, I didn't call $4,000 being breached, but I did say that it was ever so slightly more than likely that Bitcoin was going to go below $4,000. I was leaning in the bearish direction, but I'm not going to say I called this or anything, because I was like 45% on this. But nevertheless, what's important here is that Bitcoin is below $4,000, is trading at $3,950, at least on Coinbase. On Bitfinex, we're currently above $4,000 because there's still that price discrepancy between these two markets, due in large part to the Tether debacle that still hasn't been properly rectified. As we can see, Tether is trading at 99.98 cents, not exactly a dollar where it's supposed to be, but even with that being so close to a dollar, there's still some discrepancy between Bitfinex and the Coinbase price. Anyway, I do want to go ahead and get onto the crypto market recap, so let's go ahead and give her a refresh right here. And as we can see, Bitcoin is down 7% on the day. Not a great day for Bitcoin, but not the worst day that we've seen in the last 2 or 3 weeks, with the major sell-off that we've seen come out of Bitcoin after the dive below $6,000. When the chart loads, we will see that Bitcoin is below 6K, and we've seen a lot of bearish price action here. One thing I want to point out here at the outset of the video is that this is starting to look like an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Not going to discuss that in today's video, but we might go ahead and talk about that in tomorrow's video. This looks like a shoulder to me, a head, a slightly lower shoulder. Maybe we'll get a bounce down here somewhere and continue up. We'll talk about the validity of that probably in tomorrow's video. Anyway, XRP is currently trading around a third of a dollar at 35, 36 cents. It's down by about 5.5% on the day, with a daily volume of around $500 million. Bitcoin's daily volume is doing rather well, around $6 billion on not a very major move. Now, we've seen some red come here, obviously, but that isn't a very major move to see that much volume in Bitcoin, so I like seeing that much volume coming into, well, Bitcoin. If we sort by change over the last 24 hours here, we can see Theta Token and Gold Bitcoin are having a very good day, up 58.5% and 33% respectively, but they're in the minority because the majority of the cryptocurrency market is currently red. We do see Bitcoin SV of all cryptocurrencies is green today. That's an interesting one. Not going to get into that, but we do see that most of the cryptocurrency market is red. The vast majority of the cryptocurrency market is red, with maybe 20 to 30 cryptocurrencies being in the double-digit negative. Anyway, like I said, I don't want to do a lot of short-term TA here on the market today, but I did have to go ahead and give you guys the crypto market recap, give you your daily dose of crypto, as it were. Anyway, now let's go ahead and get on to the long-term TA. I'm going to dive into an article as kind of a catalyst for what we're going to be discussing in today's video. If you're interested in learning where I found this article, you can actually join the Discord server in the link down below, and in the chat group, let me go ahead and bring it up so I don't misquote it. In the chat group called #AutoNews, we have a bot over there that automatically posts news. It's actually a pretty cool little bot, and it's a good resource for cryptocurrency news. It posts about all kinds of things crypto related, and I actually happened to find this article in there. So I want to talk about the long term in today's video because I figured that this would be a good jumping off point for it. So if you want to find this article, join the Discord server, link in the description, and you'll find this article in the #AldoNews chat group. Anyway, Tim Draper, as I'm sure you guys are familiar with this guy, Tim Draper says trillions of dollars will move towards the cryptocurrency market. And if you're not familiar with Tim Draper, essentially what he is, he's a venture capitalist, and he was an early investor in Bitcoin. I believe in 2014, he made a prediction that Bitcoin was going to pass $10,000 in about 3 years. And, well, we know what happened 3 years after 2014. 2017 happened, and Bitcoin went to $20,000. So that was a rather good prediction. Good on him for that. He's a very early investor in Bitcoin. Perhaps I shouldn't say very early investor in Bitcoin. He got into Bitcoin in the hundreds of dollars rather than the tens of dollars. But he definitely is a big holder of Bitcoin. At least that's what we know. Of course, he's a very, very wealthy person, and these things are kept under wraps. But he is definitely a big guy in the cryptocurrency space, and he definitely does know his way around the financial markets. So I do want to go ahead and read a little bit about what his prediction is here. I'm going to go ahead and read from this article and jump into my own analysis here. I'm not just going to read from the article, of course. Although Bitcoin and virtual currencies lost an important part of their value during the last weeks, Tim Draper believes trillions of dollars of fiat will move into virtual currencies. The venture capitalist investor said that 2/3 of all the world's currency value would eventually move to cryptocurrencies. And that's something I've been talking about for a long time, guys. I've been bringing up this figure right here, total market capitalization of the cryptocurrency markets, and talking about how, sure, $130 billion seems like a lot of money, but $130 billion, guys, is not a lot of money when we're talking about a global cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and like a global other global cryptocurrencies like XRP, Ethereum, Stellar, Bitcoin Cash, EOS, Litecoin. You can run down the list. These cryptocurrencies are very, very lowly valued when you compare them to other things in the world, such as massive tech companies, for example. You see Amazon passed $1 trillion for a little while earlier on in the year. Apple was the first company to pass $1 trillion in valuation. Netflix is currently valued at something like $140 billion. Yeah, that one company that you watch Stranger Things on that I've been binging for the last 2 or 3 days, they're worth more than all of cryptocurrency. Bitcoin has a long way to go, if only because there's so much money in the world, and Bitcoin has a tiny market share. And that's what he's talking about here, and I completely agree with him. During the World CryptoCon conference in Las Vegas, Tim Draper talked about virtual currencies and the crypto market. According to him, Bitcoin will be leading the cryptocurrency market, the currency market, and would allow people to easily do what they need with virtual currencies. At the time of writing this article, the cryptocurrency market has a market capitalization of $122 billion, which is about where it is right now. It's a little higher than that. Meanwhile, the fiat value around the world is $86 trillion. That's the number that I've been talking about a lot and trying to bring to you guys' attention how important it is to understand how massive of a market we're talking about here. Bitcoin is a crazy market. Guys, I'm going to be starting some businesses in a couple of years, and one of the things that I want to do when I start these businesses is find a niche that is absolutely gargantuan, that can grow very, very large. I want to be a billionaire. A lot of people don't realize that about me. I want to be very, very wealthy, and I'm moving in that direction. And the one thing I like to do when I'm looking for businesses to start, because of course I've started other businesses than just the YouTube channel, when I'm starting businesses, what I like to do is I like to find a niche which is absolutely massive and that can scale really well. And let me tell you something about that number, $86 trillion. That is a big niche, and Bitcoin is set to take over that niche as the leading cryptocurrency, and as a cryptocurrency which can do a lot of things that typical currencies cannot. It is immutable, it is trustless, and it is the future, in my opinion. You guys know my opinion on Bitcoin. I don't need to go on a tirade about why Bitcoin is so awesome. I think we understand that if we're here watching cryptocurrency YouTube. My point here is that Bitcoin is a valid enough technology to take over this market, at least get a very large portion of this market moving on into the future. And what does that mean? If Bitcoin were to capture 10% of this market, say it's worth $8.6 trillion. Let's say Bitcoin goes to $8.6 trillion in market cap. Right now it's worth $70 billion. Yeah, $70 billion. Even that was a big number. I was like, hang on, I got to do a double take on that. Bitcoin's worth about $70 billion right now. Multiply that by a factor of 100. You see Bitcoin's at $400,000 a coin, capturing 10% of the current currency market value. Currency market values always rise. They're always going up, guys. It's very rare for the currency market to get smaller. By the time Bitcoin is able to capture 10% of this market, this number is probably going to be twice that, guys, which is why I made a video like 6 months ago. I'll link that in the top right for posterity about why Bitcoin can actually go to $1 million per coin. Let me make something very clear. Whether or not Bitcoin is going to be the cryptocurrency that goes to $1 million per coin or goes to a $10 trillion market value, whether or not it's Bitcoin is honestly kind of irrelevant. Because the point that a lot of people make is they say, okay, well, Bitcoin is MySpace to, let's say, Ethereum's Facebook. Or they say Bitcoin is Yahoo to XRP's Google. Fair. Okay, Bitcoin isn't the greatest technology. A lot of people, well, let me finish that before you go and comment. Let me finish my thought here before you go and comment on that. Bitcoin is an antiquated technology. It's a very revolutionary technology that I'm a very big fan of, but it does have its limitations. Bitcoin does have block time problems, and it does have scaling problems. Those are two very, very big problems with Bitcoin that are going to be able to be overcome with layer 2 solutions, layer 2 scalability solutions like the Lightning Network. If those things come online in time and come online like they need to, those things can be solved. But Bitcoin itself, the on-chain, the blockchain of Bitcoin does have very, very annoying limitations, to be quite honest, when we're trying to build a global currency, which is why a lot of people say that Bitcoin is going to become something like digital gold rather than an actual currency, and that something else might take over as a global currency like Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Stellar, Ethereum, XRP, whatever the coin may be. Guys, I'm a very big fan of Bitcoin. Don't go commenting, oh, well, Jeb's a crypto trader. Jeb doesn't like Bitcoin. Guys, I'm a very big fan of Bitcoin. Don't get me wrong. And I do think that Bitcoin is probably the best investment of any of the cryptocurrencies here in the top 100 to be making, simply because of its longevity, and it's proven that it can actually do what it needs to do. It's been around for 10 years, far longer than any of these altcoins. But my point here is that Bitcoin might not be the one to actually lead the cryptocurrency market in 10 years. Bitcoin might not be number one in 10 years, guys. I'm not a blind Bitcoin maximalist. There might be an altcoin that takes it over. I don't see that happening for a very long time, but it very well may happen. And what that means is that because Bitcoin does have problems, and because some of these altcoins are much better at solving the problems than Bitcoin is, that does mean that it might get taken over. Some cryptocurrency may take over Bitcoin as the number one spot. But what happens if that happens? Well, there's still one major problem to Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency is leading in 5, 10, 20 years taking over. And that is not really the technology, because in my opinion anyway, and in the opinion of many people in the cryptocurrency space, cryptocurrencies are set on a technological level to take over global currency markets and to replace them. So it's not really my concern about currency markets being taken over by Bitcoin on a technological level or by some other altcoin on a technological level. It's actually on a political level, because there are many times in human history, throughout the course of human history, this video is getting a little long and rambly, but I want you guys to understand these points here that I'm making, because they're not exactly technical analysis, and I don't talk about them that much. But there's something you have to realize about technology across history. And a lot of times, it's not the technology that is the best that gets adopted. It's the technology that was most advantageous to the current political regime when that technology comes about. Let me say that again. A lot of times it's not the it's not the technology that is most valid that becomes widespread and adopted by the world and by whoever needs to adopt it, be it the banks, be it the financial system, be it by your average everyday Joe, be it the postal system, whoever needs to adopt it. What normally it comes down to is the politics, which is my major concern with cryptocurrency, is not the technology. I think the technology is great, and I think the technology in a perfect world would replace many currencies in a very short amount of time, in the next 10 years or so. My concern is the politics of it, because as a lot of people I think are missing, the big problem with Bitcoin is the politics. Bitcoin has to be able to be adopted, and Bitcoin has to be able to be regulated so that governments will actually allow it to do what it wants to do. Anyway, that was a bit of a side tangent. Let's continue talking about Bitcoin's long-term perspective. About it, Draper explained, I mean, just by that alone, this being this number right here, just by that alone, just that they cost you less is going to be far better for people, and they're going to move in crypto, and they're going to go away from the political currency. They call it fiat. Tim Draper doesn't seem to be a very big fan of fiat currency, and honestly, I can't really blame him. The dude was old enough to have lived through 2008 and to have been a very wealthy person during it, and he probably did pretty well during 2008, but I'm sure he saw the cataclysm that was the global currency market and the global markets in general when all that happened. I'm not going to get into that today, but the one thing I do want to talk about here, guys, is the long term. So let's go ahead and zoom out here on the weekly chart, because you guys know, if you've been watching the channel for a long time, that I'm a very big fan of perspective. So let's get some more perspective here. Last all-time high for Bitcoin was $20,000. The all-time high before that was $1,200. The all-time high before that was somewhere in the hundreds of dollars. Bitcoin seems to do more than a 10 times growth every time it goes to a new all-time high. That seems to be what's happening, and it seems to happen every 4 years or so. I'm not in any way saying that the next all-time high for Bitcoin is going to be $200,000, although I do think that a $200,000 Bitcoin is very, very likely in the next 12 years, in the next 20 years, depending on whether or not Bitcoin stays the number one cryptocurrency. My point here is that, guys, look at the average lifespan. I know I talk about this a lot. Look at the average lifespan of a human. In the West, it's somewhere around 76, 77 years. The average person watching this channel, on average, you, person watching this, are 93% male. You are about, I don't know, like 5'8". I don't know if I think you're about 5'8". Yeah, you're about 5'8", because you guys, it's kind of weird that I have this information. I know Google gives it to me. I don't look at it very often, but I looked at it just so I could make this joke in this video. And you're about 93% male. You're in between the ages of 25 to 35. I don't know how you can be 10 different ages all at the same time, but you are. And your name is probably Bob. I made that one up, but Bob, yeah, we know a lot about you, Bob. Anyway, the one thing I want to bring up here is that one statistic I mentioned, that you're probably in between the age of 25 to 35, and you might even be younger than that. You got another 10 years. You got another 10 years, and you're still going to be very young. 45 years old is not that old, guys. 55 years old is really not that old. When you get into your 60s, okay, maybe you're getting a little old, but technology is a pretty amazing thing right now. You take care of your body, you eat healthily, and you work out, you do everything that you need to do to stay healthy. You can easily live into your 80s or your 90s, and you guys are like 25 to 35 right now. I'm speaking to the majority of my audience. Of course, there are outliers, but the point I'm trying to make here is that 10 years isn't a long time. People think it's a long time because, okay, well, 10 years is like half my life, 10 years is a third of my life. Guys, 10 years in the grand scheme of things is an eighth or a ninth of your life, and 10 years has done a lot for Bitcoin. 10 years ago today, Bitcoin was a white paper. 10 years ago today, Bitcoin, quote unquote, existed, but the technology existed. The actual cryptocurrency itself didn't exist. Bitcoin wasn't mined until January 3rd, 2009, and we haven't even come up on 10 years. Imagine what the next 10 years can bring for Bitcoin when Bitcoin has done so much in the last 10 years. Bitcoin is going to do a lot in the next 10. So here's to the next 10 for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market. Guys, tell me in the comment section down below what you think about that analysis. I really do think that Bitcoin is going to be worth a lot more than it is now in the long term. And I want to zoom out and give you guys some perspective so that you guys will realize the bigger picture here, because this bear market is just one step in the grand development of the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin, of course, had to have a bear market after going parabolic. Of course, it was going to go down. Of course, Bitcoin was going to fall down maybe around $6,000. Bitcoin might even go to $1,000. I don't know, guys. I can't see into the future, but I can predict with hopefully some degree of accuracy that Bitcoin is going to be worth a lot more than $20,000 in the future. And if Bitcoin goes back to $20,000, you 5x your money, and I think it's going to go a lot higher than that. I'm not trying to get you to FOMO in. I'm not trying to get you to just go and dump all your life savings into Bitcoin right now, because like I said, Bitcoin could go to $1,000 tomorrow. My point here is that if you're in this space and you're here for the long term, then you need to not be worried about what's going on in the last couple of weeks. You don't need to be worried about what's going on in the last couple of months, and you really don't even need to be worried about what's going on in the last couple of years, because the grand scheme, the grand strategy, I want to say, but the grand plan for Bitcoin, the master plan for Bitcoin, the destiny of Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency market, it's up here. It's up there. It's not down here. Bitcoin is still very, very undervalued from where it will be in the future. At least I think so. Tell me in the comment section down below if you agree with me, and tell me in the comment section down below if you'd like to see more videos like this. I love to ramble about long-term things. I love to ramble about mindset stuff. I love to do the whole Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, Graham Stephan, all these people thing. I love to do that thing, so I'll continue doing it if you guys enjoy these kind of videos. That's basically going to do it for this video, though, guys. Definitely tell me in the comment section down below if you enjoyed it. I do love reading your comments as always. Also, I do want to mention one thing. Exactly 2 hours after this video goes up, the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy is going to be jumping from $99 to $149. So if you guys want to get in on the course before the price rises, you might want to click the link in the description down below and see what we have to offer. I'm a very big fan of the course. And guys, we've had like 30 or 40 people join this week, which I'm very, very happy to see, and they're all enjoying it. We have way over 100 people in the course, and many of them have given me very positive feedback. I haven't had a single complaint. Can you believe that? I haven't had a single complaint out of dozens and dozens and hundreds of people, and I haven't had a single refund, even though we have a very fair refund policy. So if you want to see what's in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy and you want to get in before the price rises, check the link in the description down below. I'm a very big fan of the product, and there will be even more videos coming to it in December, even though 5 new videos went up yesterday. But anyway, guys, that's basically going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, and smashing the notification bell, guys, so you'll be notified when a new video goes out. But that is actually going to do it for this video, guys. I know I like to say that. I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.